Kate here again. And the question I had today is, have you ever confronted someone and asked them and told them things that really hurt you and affected you, along with a plethora of other things that happened to you as a child? Like you were about 8 years old and your sister took you babysitting and she was like 17, and before she moved to Washington, D.C., and got a job down there before she graduated. She was babysitting in the city of Lebanon at a row home. And she took your older sister the day before, the sister that is a year and 5 months older. And she's older than me, so she was a little more mature, a lot more mature in a year and 5 months, knew more, understood more, was treated better apparently by what I saw. And but I have to believe what they tell me is the truth for some reason. And she got to go with our cousin Patsy a lot to our Uncle Lamar's house. And I really didn't get to know Uncle Lamar till I was a little older. When he was after work, before he met Aunt Mary, he would go in the pond with a bar of soap and probably bathing, but he had a bathing suit on. And one time I swam with him, and man, was I just loved him. And of course, he died when I was around 14 years old. That's a long story, too, of what happened to him. But, well, he had a heart attack and fell off the truck. He was a truck driver. Fell off I don't know if it was the roof or the hood or the top of the truck. But anyway, he died. So you talked to the sister, back to the story. I got a little bit sidetracked, I guess, is what you want to say. So I talked to her, and first she says, I don't even remember that. I don't remember taking you with. I don't remember. So you're 8 years old and you remember, but she was 17 and trying to get employment, graduate from high school, and then get a job and work for the federal government, which I understand. And then I explained to her the whole day. I didn't tell her that I got mad at her because she told me I was so bad and she'd never bring me back there again, ever, ever, ever. Never, 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 ever, 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 ever would she take me back with her babysitting. But I gave my kids always 3 strikes at the same thing they were misbehaving at. And then it was, ouch, you're not doing this again, because 3 times you disobeyed. So then I explained to her, she was, well, if it's a short little word, but it's a big word too. If that really happened, then I guess you were really that bad. So I had a reason to say it. So it's not ever, well, I'm sorry that I got so short-tempered with you and told you you'll never go with me again and told you how bad you are. I just don't understand why people can't apologize or say, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry if you believe that. I'm sorry, but you were just so bad. You probably were so bad. That's why it happened. It can never be that they did something wrong. It just blows my mind. Totally. It does. And saying I'm a tattletale when I was just asking our dad what a word meant that they said, and they got in big trouble. I'm at the store with them. They go 3 rows down that I don't see them because I'm looking at comic books, and then when I go to find them, I can't find them. I panic. I still have flashbacks of that, and I still have when I get triggered in stores. And it's just all me because I'm crazy and mental. Nothing they did wrong ever to make it this way for me. So when I was just back to the store, I didn't see them. I couldn't yell in my mind because you're to be seen and not heard is what my mom said to me constantly. So I didn't want to yell. Well, how dumb are you is probably what the words are they say. How dumb was she? She should have yelled for us. It's never them. I was 4. Let me say it again. I was 4. And I was told to be seen and not heard. So I saw the door. It was one of those doors you just put your foot on a black mat and it opened automatically. I thought, well, I'll walk home. They left me here. I was 4. I didn't know a lot I didn't even know there was death at that time yet till my grandma, Annie Mariah Walmer, died. She was up in the front bedroom where Aunt Peg's eventually a living room was for Aunt Peg. And I'd go up there with one of my cats, Crazy Bones, and talk to her. Well, one day, we weren't going up there. I got dressed up. My mom or grandma or one of my older sisters dressed me up, or I don't know how I got dressed that day, but I know I went back to a big building and we sat on chairs, and I saw Grandma Annie Mariah Walmer, my great-grandma, sleeping. Look, she's sleeping is what I said in my head. I'm going to go try to get in with her, because I get up in her big double bed that she had upstairs, put the cat on the bed. But they think they know my whole life, that they lived my life for me, but they didn't. So I'm putting my leg up. If you'd see me dancing and how I carry on, maybe I was a little hyperactive, but one of the things my mom used to say to me a lot is, do you have ants in your pants? Do you have ants in your pants? Anyway, back to the funeral home. I didn't know it was a funeral home. I just know it had a lot of chairs in it. And there was Grandma Walmer, my great-grandma, up in this fancy bed with lacy, flowery pillow and a blanket over her, this lacy white blanket. I thought, oh, she must be sleeping. So I tried to climb in. And I don't know who it was, my mom or one of my older sisters, because Ann was only a year and a half older than me, so year and 5 months. I say a year and a half. What is a year and 5 months, give or take? And I know it wasn't her, but one of the older ones said, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm like, what? I don't understand. Until after the big meal or whatever we had afterwards, I was told that people die. I'll tell you, I thought about that. I didn't know that. It was a heart crusher right there, that people aren't here forever. Was I stupid? Or was I just overanalyzing? Was I hypervigilant? I don't know for sure. But I know it hurts. And then they say, oh, it happened so long ago, let it go. And then I have to hear from people that love me, like my husband, why do you let them live in your head? Why do you let the past live in your head? Well, Jesus being crucified is many years ago, 2000, and that lives in my head. That, don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, therefore honor God with your body? But then I know vengeance belongs to the Lord, so. And then I didn't live their lives. I didn't live my mom and dad's life, that my dad was shoved aside, I'm sure, when his older brother that was like 4 years older than him got his leg run over and chopped off in the trolley car near Philadelphia. Where were they from now? Trevose, Pennsylvania, near Philly, and the trolley car ran his leg and some of his fingers over, and he didn't have a couple fingers and his one leg from, I guess, right above the knee or right below the knee, because I remember when Uncle Johnny would visit us, he would put his prosthetic leg on, and he still had the bendable part of his knee, I think. But that's when my dad is messed up. My dad died in the 1980s, so I didn't have my dad as long as them. My dad was old and grouchy till I was born. He was 49, but they think we're exactly the same. And here's what's really hard about it. I try to talk to them, and they don't want to talk about it. Just don't talk about it. When I try to talk about the narcissistic personality disorder of my younger sister-in-law, I'm just told, don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. I'm done pretending, compromising, and just to feel I'm loved, because I'm afraid to tell anyone in my family other than my husband and my 2 daughters, and of course my grandchildren, exactly what I'm feeling, and my son-in-laws to a point too, and what I'm feeling and how it is. But and close friends like my neighbor here, Carol, in my neighborhood. It's just a battle for me, and I'm going to try and let it go and not talk about it anymore. But there are other subjects I want to talk about, like they think that our family become angels in heaven, but We were made a little lower than the angels. I think Jesus was too when he came as a flesh person. And we're not meant to die and be messengers for the Lord. There are angels ascending and descending. And then when there was a war in heaven, Satan was kicked out, the devil, and the third, I don't know exactly how that third works in there, but a third decided to go with Satan. So they're demons. But we are not angels in heaven. We are not. It doesn't mention that we become angels. I think we in heaven actually are ruling over angels. And how that's going to work out, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know or think that people who die are angels. And the last thing I want to talk about is that people who died in my family that were nasty sons of buggers. And if they repented, and I think most of them did, 99% of them, I don't know about Dale yet, if he repented and accepted Christ as his Savior and, go and baptize and go and sin no more, try to sin no more. But if they would go by how you lived your life, there's no way they're angels. But that's how they talk, like, oh, they're dead now. How dare you say they did anything wrong ever? How dare you speak the truth about what happened to you? When I say that Wayne came home drunk up in Connecticut to come home to his mom's, we were visiting you up at, I think his mom's name was Bertha. And Peg took me up there because I was like 13 or 14, right before I accepted Christ. And then all this happened with the bathroom thing and then the car accident I was in and stitches across my right eyelid. I almost lost this eye. It was all messed up and not huge. And Wayne even said to me in the hospital, I was 14, oh, you used to be so pretty. You used to be so pretty. Shot in the heart, man. Now, that's when he was honest. But he comes home drunk out of his mind, and he's like kissing me. I was sound asleep, and I wake up to this slime, and I said beer, B-E-E-R face, not beard face. He didn't have a beard or a mustache at that time. But it was slimy. He was drunk out of his freaking mind. And then he come in the morning, he's sober, and he tells my sister that he just kissed me goodnight like he kissed his own daughter. That was such a lie. And she believed him and said to me, well, he said to me that he only kissed you goodnight like he would kiss his own daughter. Well, guess what? Once again, I am shoved aside and I'm told I'll do this. You will do this and you will do that. And when I did babysit for my oldest sister, Peg, it's because I love her. And my mom said, you need to help her because she's married to a drunk, an alcoholic. But I'm making this way too long. Anyway, thanks for listening. And I could pay for therapy, but I'd rather just talk here. And I'm going to try to just have things about my dog and the good times and the dancing and the riding down the road that I make videos and where I'm going sometimes. And I'm going to stop letting them live in my head and stay estranged. Because when I get triggered or I have a flashback of it, it's like it just happened to me. And it is my trauma that's causing this. Not them anymore, but they can't believe that I'm still mad at them. Well, after I decided I'm going to not be quiet about it, it's like it just happened to me, but they don't understand that. And they're sort of like enablers for people that they see because the NPD person is one of their neighbors down the road, right at the end of just the lane. So, I'm a loser. I'm a nobody nothing. Oh, you believe that? You believe that? You gave yourself that name. No, I didn't. Yous did. So I hope you just keep singing, not yous, but my family of origin, my 3 or 4 of my older sisters, my mom, because she couldn't handle what happened, so she thought I was doing okay, so she took it out on me, but I wasn't. I just didn't say nothing half the time. And when I did, I was just lashing out because I was so upset about what's going on. And then I was told, again, I'm not acting like a Christian, and how dare you speak up? You're not going to talk. My dad even chimed in once and said, If you keep speaking back to her, you're going to get punched in the puss. And just let it there. So let's end this by saying I hope you keep singing, dancing, making music, and having fun as much as you possibly can. And keep the peace as much as possible. And know this, vengeance belongs to the Lord.